out, and we'll see how it goes once he's out there.
I know you have a lot more on your mind for a Game 7, but how do you think Luke Walton has handled all this, having accepted the Lakers job and keeping his focus with you guys during this run?
You know, if you know Luke, you know he handles pretty much everything exactly the same way. He's extremely laid back and excited about what we're doing right now and excited about what's ahead for him. Jane?
Molly from AP, what has this day been like for you? I mean, did you wake up and feel any different about going into a Game 7, coaching a Game 7 with this group?
Yeah, I mean, it's a special day, but you try to keep the same routine. So Luke and I went to yoga, like we always do, every game day. Probably didn't know that, did you?
I didn't.
I'm guessing Bill Belichick and his staff don't do that. Just throwing that out there.
What kind of yoga do you guys
It's
do?
hot yoga.
Okay, 90 minutes?
Oh, no, we're not.
Not 90.
60. Yeah, let's not get carried away. Gotta get in the right mindset. So it's the usual game day routine.
In your starting lineup today?
Gosh, we gotta have to go over this every time.
Well, you did say so. You did say so.
I did.
Yeah, you made a point of that. So
That's true. That's true. So yes, Harrison is starting.
and do you have to discuss with him? You know, obviously a lot of focus on him not making shots. Have you, general conversations, specific conversations with him to, to make sure he takes a shot? Do you say don't take the shot? What is the conversation with him?
No, I mean, the conversation is just coaching. That's kind of my job to coach our guys individually, coach them as a team. So there's conversations. The biggest thing is to realize that in the playoffs and especially the finals, the spotlight is big, and there are moments for everybody where things don't go great, and you have to fight through that and just be solid. Go out there and play your game, be aggressive, and whatever happens, happens. But it's very easy in the finals, especially, to get caught up in all of that. When the reality is, what's important is to just move on to the next game and lock in and do your best.
Steve, back left.
Steve Ashburner, Indy. 7 games in, how much do you think your players have learned about their opponents in this series? How much do you think the opponents maybe have learned about you, and how different does the game plan for Game 7 look if we were to look back at Game 1?
Yeah, I mean, at this point in a series, everybody knows everything about each other, and we've been watching. I'm sure, like them, games from earlier in the series all the way through. The matchups have really changed quite a bit for both teams, but especially for them, I would say they've really changed who they're guarding, how they're matching up, the guys that are playing off the bench, and so you adapt to each game as it comes, and you try to foresee what's coming in the next game. But it's all part of a 7-game series for sure.
Carl, right?
I apologize if you were asked this yesterday, but having played in a Game 7 against Oklahoma City at home, can that help psychologically?
Absolutely. I mean, we were in way worse shape a couple weeks ago than we are now. I'm not focusing on being up 3-1 and, oh man, we lost the last 2. I'm focusing on, we have a Game 7 at home. That's what you want at the beginning of the season. And given that we just had a Game 7 at home against a great team after being down 3-1, we're very confident that we'll come out and play a good game.
Ethan, towards the middle of the same row.
We had a report that said that the quality of shots the last 2 games for you guys were a lot better than the success rate. So I'm wondering, obviously you don't like the results the last 2 games, but how do you feel about the process of offense?
Well, I think those things can be a little deceiving. And what I mean by that is you can get open shots that aren't rhythm shots. Normally we have a lot of rhythm to our offense. The ball's moving. It's changing sides of the floor. I think the last couple of games we haven't had as much rhythm. I don't think the ball has moved as much. We haven't had as many total passes, which we keep track of. And so when we have had open shots, I think part of the reason we've missed them is that we haven't developed that rhythm well enough. For whatever reason, karma, the basketball gods, whatever you want to call it, you run a great offensive set and the ball swings side to side, everybody touches it, and boom, it hits somebody's hands in rhythm. The ball tends to go in a lot more often than not.
This side in the back on the aisle.
Bay Area. Coach, did you have a one-on-one talk with Steph Curry at all about staying out of foul trouble? And is there anything you can do specifically to help him stay out of foul trouble?
We've talked about it throughout the playoffs, and he knows what he has to do. He understands what the game is about and when to gamble, when not to, that kind of thing. It's nothing specific. It's just picking your spots and being solid rather than reaching when you're in a vulnerable position.
Any other questions? Last one up.
Monty Poole, CSN Bay Area. Steve, are you pleased by and large with the effort level you've seen the last two games? Draymond mentioned that he thought you need to play harder. You need to play harder. What are you seeing?
We need to be tougher. We need to play tougher. We've given up some easy hoops here and there that we need to do better with. I don't know if it's a matter of playing harder. I mean, it's the finals and everybody's playing hard. It's about being a little smarter, which leads to being tougher. If you're in the right spot, if you're disciplined and you're following the set rules and you're trusting your teammate and you're all on the same page, that's smarter, that's tougher, and that's better.
Previously in these playoffs, you mentioned guys needing to be in basketball position. Are you seeing that?
Are you talking about defensively?
Yes. Defensively, yeah, mostly defensively, yes.
Yeah, and when I say that, I'm talking about being in a stance, being in, having your knees bent and being alert and having vision of man and ball, all that stuff. And I think we had some breakdowns earlier in the series. I don't think that was necessarily the case last game. We might have had one or two, but again, it's a matter of playing every possession. 48 minutes of doing everything you can, being in position, being ready, being alert, and then trying to relax and be loose at the same time. It's a fine line. It sounds crazy, but that's when we're at our best as a team, and that's what we're looking forward to today.
Thanks, both.
Thank you.